20 years ago, are we alone? Oh, aliens? People would act like that. Now everybody acts like it's their own idea. We got exoplanets and, billions and billions and billions of habitable Earths,
That's right. It happened recently.
The whole tide has turned.
Yeah, the internet and communications have sort of opened up this field a bit.
Right, so everybody's like, yes, we're probably not alone in the universe.
But they're not willing to say they're here.
So that's a big question, because if the physics that we know now stays as it is, then it's a real far distance away to be traveling amongst stars. But the issue that I have with that is that we have proof that time and space can easily be warped by gravity. Mm-hmm. So all you need is an advanced technology in order to generate, if you can, a gravity field, and then places are not far away. So the whole point is, this sounds like science fiction till we achieve it. And we've seen that in our own lifetimes. We're about to get an iWatch. It's like the Jetsons. I remember that. So it's like, I'm just saying, again, it's a lack of imagination. So that's the story about what I've seen. But I will say one other thing, which is that I might have not seen, a big mothership or something like that. But I've had the honor of speaking with people within the military and the intelligence communities, and even just witnesses, just firsthand experiences of like the Phoenix Lights. And when they consistently describe to you, they don't know each other, and they describe to you events and things that have occurred on a mass scale with thousands and thousands of people seeing. There was a woman that I just met, and she said she was from Phoenix. And I asked her, did you see it? And she says, it looked like a football field. And it was hovering, slowly traversing the entire span of the sky. And it appeared as if it was like a window, like you were looking through a window, which is so strange, but I've heard it before, that this object in Phoenix, it was like you looked through and it was a distortion.
Right. Like the stars were less bright.
Out of everything that we've talked about on our episodes, that mass sightings or mass experiences are what freak me out the most.
Right. We can't deny the collective claims. Right?
It kind of becomes a little bit real. Like I've had 2 times in my life where I got goosebumps. I've been studying this and looking at this and interviewing people, but 2 times when it got real, and I was like, oh my God, like this is like actually probable. And so the mass sighting, that poses a really big problem for us, because we can discount any one person's account. Even the military, when you have like triple radar, ground radar, air radar, ground visual, air visual, and it's all written in secret documents that then we get later and come out, okay, that's pretty strong evidence, right? But it's still like a pilot, a radar, when you get a mass sighting, like the Phoenix Lights, like Stevensville. More recent, we had a pretty big sighting.
Stephenville, Texas is a typical American small town. The folks here are proud of their high school's football team and proud to be the #1 dairy county in the state.
What I thought it was obviously some technology from another dimension, another world. I don't know.
According to the Mutual UFO Network, there are about 200 reported UFO sightings a month in the U.S.
Going back in the day, like Fatima, a lot of people see that as a religious experience. Well, there's a lot of people that look at it not from a religious standpoint.
I think you'll like this story. 90 years ago, a supposed miracle happened in the tiny village of Fatima, Portugal. 3 shepherd children claimed to witness the apparition, if you will, of the Virgin Mary. The story of Our Lady of Fatima is well known and documented among the faithful and the curious.
On May 13th, 1917, in the village of Fatima, Portugal, 3 very religious shepherd children witnessed what they say was the image of the Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus. The apparition, the first of 6, tells Lucia and her 2 cousins, Francisco and Jacinta, that she will appear on the 13th day of the next 5 months, at the end of which a miracle would occur so all would believe in her. One of the 6, the miracle of the sun, was supposedly witnessed by 70,000. A shrine now stands where the apparitions took place.
There was a guy 33 miles away that watched as a glowing, ship essentially descended down into this area. So there's this crossover between, do you see this as a religious thing or a technological thing? That guy ended up becoming a priest, by the way. He saw this object from 33 miles away. It impacted him so much as it descended and landed down amongst thousands of people.
One of the big questions I've always wondered, why do you think that there are cover-ups? And I understand that there's a part of people who try to make light of and try to come up in their mind, well, that's not what it is. It has to be this.
Well, Jeremy's film Immaculate Deception
Yeah.
really does go deeper into that with John Lear,
Yeah,
right?
it will be. There is an element of a cover-up, and I try to kind of back away from that a lot because I don't think it's as organized as people believe, but there certainly is an element of a cover-up. And, you know, there is a reason. I'll tell you what I think the best reason that I've come up with at this point, but also we self-censor. You know, we
You're
oftentimes
exactly right.
make fun of stuff, but the reason why, let's say there is a cover up on the governmental scale, which I think is pretty proven if you look at any of the documents from the CIA or FBI that have been released. Okay, it's really self-evident, but you know they want to demystify the whole thing. Why would there be? So the best. That's what you're asking, right?
I was gonna ask. I was like, why? Like,
Okay.
why cover it?
Okay, so great question because not only do we have a right to know, I think we have a need to know if we're being engaged by non-humans, right? I mean, that would be huge if that were true.
Exactly.
So why would the
on a
government?
very practical level, it's like we got to deal with this.
I mean, it would be astounding. I mean, I think we're ready for that, you know, and it's nobody's business to hide it from us. So if it is true, okay, why would a government or governments try to hold that back from people? And you go to the old school thing where people are like, well, we'd all freak out because of religion or
That's what I was gonna
blah,
say,
blah,
yeah.
blah.
That's
Yeah.
what Phil believes.
Bullshit. Okay, I'm sorry. It's like what the reason if I were in control that I would hold it back is because I want a technological advantage. If I have a technological advantage, then I will be a superior nation, at least technologically, which wins wars and controls. So it is my understanding at this point, although I reserve the right to change my opinion at any time in this strange field of ufology, okay? But right now, my opinion is that if there is an active, coordinated cover-up, which there seems to be, just from the document trail itself, most likely the reason for that is one of two reasons. One, we want to maintain a technological advantage, which I understand. There are some things that should be kept secret, like how to make a neutron bomb. Not everybody should know that, okay? So I understand compartmentalization and secrecy. Now, the other reason why maybe there could be this secrecy that is much more terrifying is that the truth or the reality of this is so far out of control and it's so far beyond the scope
That makes
of the
sense,
government
yeah.
that they do not want us to panic. If they had to turn around and say, we do not have control of our airspace and there are craft, not of this earth, that traverse it with impunity every day, which is what I've been told by almost everybody who I've talked with, who has been in a position to know this.
Right.
That makes a lot more sense.
We're
in the sense
essentially
of-
powerless.
Yeah, whatever aliens that maybe the government knows about, they're so beyond us that they're even themselves are afraid to, you know, acknowledge that to the mass
Well,
public.
there is the phenomenon of alien abductions, and what seems to be the common theme is genetic manipulation and crossbreeding the human race with another alien species, and that implies a much larger story about humanity's origins, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, undeniably, there is a narrative that has been occurring with this abduction phenomenon. And there's a couple narratives. One of them is biological testing. People claim that they are being taken from their homes and they are being manipulated biologically, you know, taking samples of blood, semen, ovaries, this kind of stuff. I mean, wild, right? So if in fact that is true, which I don't know, but if in fact that all these people that have, if that is true, then that would imply that there is a genetic program going on. And the genetic program has been, that's the other narrative, that when there's a consistency with these people that they're saying, they're told, you are important. Thank you. You're doing a great service. What you're doing for us is going to help our species, which might be you in the future. And that's the other thing that they kind of put on people is that the people doing the abductions of the beings, by the way, they might be nanotechnology cybernetic organisms that are like robots that are flesh and bone that are basically there to like do the work. We don't even know that they're like the top bosses, right? So in this whole mythology or reality, I just don't know, that is said, that there's just genetic experimentation to advance, you know, the genome maybe. I mean, that's one theory. I don't know. It sounds wild.
And
but
talk
we do
of
it.
multiple species and things implies a whole larger scope of what the galactic political sphere is all about, right? Exopolitics.
If it were true, yeah. If that were true, then you'd have to go to the next step and the next step, and it might be true. We crossbreed species and animal, and we do a lot of weird lab stuff. I mean, it's not technically impossible. I just don't know if it's happening here.
Right,
but
right.
there is that narrative.